In today's video, I'm going to talk about the 2023 pros and cons of living in Tampa, Florida. So the first pro is that we are home to 4 pro sports teams. The first one is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is National Football League. The second one is Tampa Bay Lightning, which is our hockey. The third one is the Tampa Rays, which is Major League Baseball. And last but not least, we're also home to the Rowdies, which is the United Soccer League. So you may have picked up on one thing that I did not name as a major pro sport in the Tampa Bay area, and that's the NBA. Unfortunately, Tampa does not have an NBA team, but the great news is Orlando does. And Orlando is a very short drive. So if you feel the need that you want to go watch an NBA game, you can hop in the car, take a quick drive over to Orlando, and you can watch the Orlando Magic play. So speaking of never being too far away, in the Tampa area, you are really close to Clearwater Beach. Clearwater Beach has been named by a whole bunch of different websites and magazines as one of the best beaches in the entire world. So that is definitely a pro when you live in the Tampa area, that you have access to the pristine beach, which is Clearwater Beach, which is about a 40-minute drive from Tampa. So another pro, in addition to having access to one of the most pristine beaches in the world, is you also have access to an abundance of water recreation. You have the ability to canoe, you can kayak, you can go jet skiing, you can parasail, you can even go snorkeling. So rounding out the list of pros of living in Tampa, Florida, I wanted to mention the world-class entertainment. There's music because there's always an abundance of concerts. There's theater. There is museums to visit, as well as many options when it comes to fine dining. Moving on to the cons, the first thing that I want to talk about is the traffic. Listen, Tampa is a big city, and so obviously there's going to be traffic, but there are a few factors that other parts of the country may not be affected as much as Tampa is. One, this is a heavily visited area, so tourists come in an abundance, especially during certain times of the year, which attributes to making the traffic worse. I personally have lived in bigger cities than Tampa, and I don't find that the traffic is all that horrible, just to be quite honest with you, for me personally. But I've lived in Houston where it could take you 2 hours to go literally 40 miles. So the thing with traffic is you just learn the traffic patterns. You know, in the morning, commute times are going to be longer than usual, 6 to 8. And then in addition, in the evening from 4 to 7, they're going to be, you know, a typical commute, just like anywhere. Everybody's going to work and everybody's coming home from work. But my best advice for you is to either find ways to travel around those times or put in a good podcast. Just be prepared for the commute and enjoy the podcast, and just know that it's something that you're going to have to deal with. So another con that I wanted to talk about in this video is homeowners associations, also known as HOAs. Here in the Tampa market, the majority of the suburbs and communities that you look at are going to be governed by an HOA. Just want to be clear before I elaborate more on an HOA being a con. I personally am a fan of having an HOA and living in a neighborhood or a subdivision that has a strict HOA, because it holds people accountable for keeping their house as well as their property in good condition. So here's why I listed the HOA underneath the cons instead of the pros, because as you heard in my previous statement, I am a fan of HOAs. But here's my hiccup with HOAs. When you pay a large monthly fee every single month to the HOA, like I personally pay $385 a month just for my HOA. And then for instance, when you want to utilize some of the aspects that the HOA covers, say it's for ants. We have lots of fire ants here in Florida. And say you have a fire ant mound and they're responsible for taking care of your pest control on the outside. And you try to inquire with them about coming out and treating it. it may take them weeks, or they may totally, turn down and say, no, we're not going to cover that. We did it 2 months ago, and so we're not going to come back and do it now. So that's my big thing with HOAs. I find them very difficult to deal with. And although I love how it keeps a neighborhood very clear, clean, and concise, the downside is everything seems to be that what they're responsible for turns out being a battle. So that's why I listed being in an HOA as a con. So another con that I thought was worth mentioning is snowbirds. And I mentioned snowbirds because during the winter months, when people come down from the north to escape the cold and the snow, it gets very crowded in the Tampa area. And you're like, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, let me tell you the things that it affects. It's difficult to get dinner reservations. That's one good example. I remember one time calling 3 or 4 places trying to get in, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, the earliest reservation that they had. So it makes things like that more difficult. The grocery stores are busier. The gas station lines are busier. I mean, everything is just busier when the snowbirds are here during the winter months. So some people may view that as a con. I personally do because of just the dinner reservation aspect within itself. I like to go out and eat. That's my number one probably form of entertainment for me and my family. And it makes it difficult at times due to the snowbirds being here. Last con that I thought was worth mentioning is the weather. And no, I'm not going to talk about the hurricanes. We all know it's Florida. We all know there's a hurricane season. And so that's not what I wanted to talk about with regards to weather. What I wanted to talk about was the rain, specifically during the summer months. So some of you may or may not know, but during the summer, not only is it hot and humid, but we also have periods of time where it will just torrentially downpour, and it could be for 15 minutes or it could be for 2 hours, and it's completely unexpected. So for me, that's a con because you can be out, you can be at the beach, it can be a beautiful sunny day, blue skies, not a cloudless sky, and then all of a sudden the weather can completely change and you have torrential downpours unexpectedly. And it could be, like I said, 15 minutes. So you could run to your car, seek shelter, and then wait it out. Or sometimes it's as long as 2 hours. So for me, it's very much unpredictable weather during the summer months. And I find that to be a con. So that completes my list of pros and cons. I'd love for you to leave a comment below in the comment section and let me know if you agree, if you disagree, or if you found any of the things that I mentioned in today's video surprising to you and your family. The last thing that I wanted to mention is my name is Tina. I'm a licensed real estate agent in the Tampa Bay market area. I would love to work with you and your family. I have tons of personal experience with relocation. Whether you're thinking about relocating across the street to a different area in the Tampa market, or whether you're relocating from out of state, I would love to be able to assist you. And if you would like to get in contact with me, you can find my phone number down below in the description. So feel free to call me or shoot me a text, as well as my email. If you would like to shoot me an email, we can also set up a time that we can do a Zoom. So thank you for sticking around and listening to the video till the end. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the subscribe or the like button. And then last but certainly not least, I have another video, and I think that you would find things I wish I would have known before moving to Tampa helpful to you, especially if you're relocating from outside the area to the Tampa market. So be sure and check that video out as well. And listen, until next time, I'll see you on the next video.